All right, so here we are, and we've got the cooler. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I got going on here, and we'll start with the miner itself. So as you see, we have the L3++. The miner itself cost me about $700 when I got it. Dogecoin was pretty low, but it was up and coming. So I bought one. I think I got it for about 800 bucks with shipping, maybe 750. We'll confirm that upstairs when we get up to the computer. I can look at that. On the ends, we have the exhaust fans. I'm sorry, not the exhaust fans, but the exhaust extensions, I should say. And these on both sides, these are so I can put a 4-inch connection on the end and have it exhaust the heat and pull in. So those are about $10 each. I bought a cooler. It's an Igloo. I got it on eBay for about 20 bucks, brand new. And what I've done to this is I took a hole saw. Now you can buy these at Home Depot or any hardware store, Lowe's. And it's a 4-inch circle. I don't have it offhand to show it to you, but it's a 4-inch. And with this, you hook it onto your drill bit and you can cut yourself a 4-inch hole. I went ahead and did that on both sides. Also, what I did was I took I think it's 1.5 hole saw also, same thing, another attachment, and I did it on the top, and this is for my wires to come out. So when I have the miner in here, I can put the wires and the network cable straight through this, and then that way I can even put a little padding in there to quiet any extra sound coming out. And this should reduce the sound. Now, as far as heat goes, I'm working on a system over here on the wall. This is the area that I call Crazy Town because this is a disaster. But once I have that all set up, I really need to get the ventilation put in the wall first, and then I'm going to build around it. So I'm waiting to get that done. Also, my outlets, I'm going to have 3 30-amp outlets on the wall, and that will allow me to bring in more of the miners that I have or that I've ordered, because it's getting a little big in here and a little hot, a little loud. So, this one's for you, honey. I hope this works. So let's go ahead and get right on this and see what we're going to do. So again, I've already pre-drilled the holes. I'm sorry that's not in the video. You know my videos, I like to show you from start to finish, soup to nuts. I like to show you everything I'm doing. And in this example, I've already drilled the holes. So what I've also done was I went ahead and cut a couple pieces of wood. There's these little slats in here, these little push outs, and then there's a recessed piece. I'm sure it's for some sort of attachment or something that goes with this cooler. But I just cut these one by one, and I'm just going to put them in there. And the idea behind this is that it won't let the miner just sit on the bottom, and if the miner gets it all warm, because the unit itself does put a little heat. I don't know, maybe it'll melt the plastic, maybe it won't, I don't know, but we're going to do that. And then basically it's going to go in here like this, and it will line up with the holes, and it will exhaust the air. Now that I've cut these pieces and put them in here, and I'm looking at this, of course, my holes don't line up. I think I originally did this with just some strip pieces of wood and not these one by one. So I'm going to have to go ahead and find those a little later on. But I did want it up a little bit. So with the other pieces of wood, it did line up. That's how I originally measured it. And I probably should have done something a little thicker like this, so there's even more space. But I'll get that other wood. The other wood that I have is obviously the same length, but it's just half as thick. But any clearance is better than no clearance, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. But I can't assume that, anything is better than nothing. So anyway, so we've got this set up here. What we're going to do is we've got some hose. So here's what we're going to use. It's an insulated. You can see I'll pull this back a little bit. You can see sorry if it's loud, it's pretty crinkly. It's got the insulation right here. Which side I, pull back on it. So we'll just start on this one, and what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this back and have that sticking out like that. So once the miner's inside, I can put this hose on the outside. I'm going to cut this piece. I cut this piece purposefully just for the demo. What I did was I did buy a box of this at Home Depot. So it's just flexible insulated duct hose. It is the 4-inch, so they have different sizes. Now when I come out of this and I go into my exhaust, it is going to go into a 6-inch or a 10-inch. I haven't figured out how much space I need depending on how many miners I have blowing into it. The diameter is going to have to be bigger to accept that much airflow. So that's going to be for my buddy Ryan, who's an AC guru and an electrician master. He just got his license in a second state that we closely border, so congratulations to him. He'll just increase his workload, and then I'll see him less and I won't get free work. So, no, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Ryan, for the work. I really appreciate it. And I got some awesome things for you too, for your setup, because he's just getting into this now. He's bought a couple miners, and I don't know why I just pulled that off now. I got to cut that. And he needs some PDUs, so I just had some custom built ones, and I'm gonna hook him up with those. So I'm sure he'll be super excited. So let me go ahead and find the wood that I'm gonna use. So I found them really quick over here, and these are them. They're just a couple slats, you know, like I said. I believe that having this off the bottom, you know, I don't know what effect it'll have on this plastic interior. So, you know, again, less heat is better in any situation. So let's go ahead and put this in here. Now with these slats in here, this lines up perfectly inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our hose. All I'm going to do is just going to fold it in half, find the middle, and I'm going to cut it right here. So let me get my razor, which is over here, and we're going to cut that right here. So I don't want any extra debris or anything going in here. So for the time being, I'm going to move this over here, and we are going to chop this up. And we get that in camera. All right, so that's about halfway, and wow, this is probably the dullest razor that I could have found. There we go. You know, I could edit all this out, but you know I'm not gonna, because I suck at editing. So I like to just say that I like to show you everything from start to finish, but the truth is that I'm not very good at editing. And all right, man down, man down. Camera went for a ride there. I bought a new tripod, so probably don't see the buckets stacked up like you had in some of my other videos when I had done some work out here. So I bought a cool little tripod, and it's working pretty good, but you know, still got my phone recording these things. I haven't gotten anything like a GoPro or anything like that. Maybe if you guys give me some good likes and some views on this, I might decide to go spend a little extra money and buy one of those. So now we come here with the, it's got the metal ridge inside, so we're going to need something to cut that. So we're going to grab our cutter. Probably should have grabbed that before I started, but needs a needle nose, but they do have the cut edge on there, so that's nice. And then here we will just, Jesus, this is like the worst razor blade on the planet. All right, so now that we have butchered this, I do have some scissors. I could probably just cut these ends off to clean it up a little bit. So it's not a complete disaster. Just kind of tidy it up a little bit. All right, that looks a little better. Not as messy. Let's throw the trash back here for now. So now we've got 2 hoses, and we are going to go ahead and hook this up. So let me bring the miner back up here. What we also got was a couple of these rings. So they just go around it, and then once you put the hose on it, you can screw this together. It'll clamp it down real nice. We also have some zip ties, and they would work just as well either way. I think we're going to use these for now, just to get that going. I don't think I have the zip ties too handy. Where did I put them? Oh, here they are. So yeah, I probably need 2 zip ties. So anyway, we're not going to use those right now. We're just going to go ahead and use these clamps. I think they're, 50 cents or $1 a piece. So, all right, so let's take these down, put them over here. Let's bring the miner up. Make sure you are in camera. All right, so, geez, I want to itch my eye, but I just touched that fiberglass insulation. So hang on, let me get a towel and wipe my face. Excuse me. Just had a little something to eat. Yeah, like I said, it is a scorcher out here. I am sweating, but I want to get this done, and I want to see what we can do about this to make this a better unit, a more quiet unit. And they say happy wife, happy life. So, all right, so we got this set up. So I'm going to slide this over a little bit so we have a better angle. Probably going to knock the camera over again. Don't have a ton of space in here. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out, and we are going to put our ring around. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to put this ring around like that. And I guess while I've got this on here, I might as well drop that one on there. And then once I put this tube over top of this, I'll give you an idea of what I'm doing. I'm just going to put this, slide this over top. And then once I do, I'll use the ring to clamp it down. So that's basically it. Go ahead like that. All right, so I'm put my hole on this side. So that's where I want my power to be, on this side. When I first put this all together, I kind of hooked it up a little bit just to see, and I had it the wrong way, and I was like, wow, that's not very smart. So I just put it on one side, that way the power is on one side, and the network cable is long enough to go in. The power cables for the for this unit, they're not terribly long. They're long enough for this to sit on top and reach inside. But if I had put this on the wrong side, it wouldn't have reached further enough or far enough to make that. So anyway, let's go ahead and put this on. So seems like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I made this as tight as I can, so excuse me if this gets a little loud, because I have to kind of drag this thing in here to really make this work. I made this as tight and as small as I could, so I obviously have a 4-inch hole with a 4-inch tube going in, which means that they're both the same. So I'm going to have to kind of squeeze and pull on this to get this through. Same thing getting it around the housing of this attachment on the L3++. It's going to need a little finagling, so this could be a little loud. I don't have any fancy sound clips for you, so you get to hear what I hear. And that's exciting. I'm sure of it. So let's go ahead and just pull this back a little ways and give this some room. And how are we going to do this? So this has just got a plastic covering around it, so you're going to want to be careful with that. You don't want to tear it. Obviously, this is where the air needs to go or come in, so you want it to be sealed. Otherwise, you won't have the ventilation you want. You'll have holes, air gaps, and the idea is to contain this as best as you can. So we need to make this as tight as I can, and that's that. So, all right, so I've got this end in, and I extended it out far enough where it will easily cover over this. So now I will put this back inside, and I'm going to have to finagle this a little bit. Oh, that wasn't bad. That went right over it. All right, so my ring is loose enough, so it's going to be easily attached. So I'm going to slide that forward. I'm going to slide this on a little bit more. Hot, 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 brothers and sisters. Now, everything I've read about this project and everybody who's done something, a lot of people just use the duct work out. I got the insulated because I'm trying to also reduce heat and noise, and even the noise coming out of this is going to be loud. So hopefully with the length piece that I have here, it will dissipate as the sound comes out, and it will get absorbed into this as it's coming out, along with the heat won't escape out of this insulation. It won't escape out of the insulation, so the heat will be contained in here and it'll come right out. Now this is for AC and heating ductwork, so this is rated for that. I suggest that you talk to somebody. I'm lucky enough, like I said, to have Ryan, who is an AC and electrician, and a very successful one at that. I trust his judgment and his knowledge. So this is what he was talking about when we were talking originally. So this is what I have. Now they have the 6-inch and they have the 10-inch, I believe. So 6, 8, and 10, something like that. I don't know enough about it, but I know for sure they have 4 and 6. I assume they have larger ones, but that'll be for the ventilation. For now, just to get the air out from a 4-inch, I'm going through a 4-inch. You can see it's 4-inch. This is the R60, so it is pretty well insulated. I can't remember what I paid for the entire box for this, but I believe this is how many feet? This is like, 30 feet in this box, so or 40 feet in this box. So that's more than enough that I'm going to need. As a matter of fact, I think it might be even more. Yeah, I don't see it offhand, but it's a pretty big piece. So it looks like a package delivery outside from my neighbor. All right, so it's enough talking. Let me get down to this. So let's make sure this is on here, secure on top and bottom, and it appears to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that ring up, and we're going to get a screwdriver. So these just have a little screw right here, and like I said, as you tighten it, it makes the ring smaller, or you loosen it to make the ring bigger. It's got little teeth in it, so it grabs as it pulls, and it makes this smaller. I don't know if probably everybody knows what this is, and I'm over explaining it, but I've got one of them here. So now that I've got it on, I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up so it doesn't blow off while this thing is blowing, because if you all know what these things blow like. All right, that's on pretty snug. I don't want to go too tight because I don't want to break the collar of this. So there is that. Now we can go ahead and we can pull this insulation back up on here by pulling on the other end and sliding the sleeve forward. I'll do that once I have a little more room and a little more done. I'll pull that up, and then I have some tape that I bought. I bought some tape for AC duct. It's the silver tape. You could use duct tape or anything pretty much, but you can tighten that up so when this is on here, you can then tape that to it, and that will make that seal around there. So there's even, you know, a perfect fit. I guess if I cut this hole a little bit bigger, I could have tucked all of this in with it, but probably can still kind of tuck it in there. It's going to take a little finagling to get all this tucked in. You know, it does look like I will be able to get it in there because it is flexible, but you know, for now, we're just going to go ahead and set it up like this. So, all right, so we got the first side hooked up, and now we're going to go ahead and flip this all around, and we're going to do the other side, hopefully without knocking you over. So I'm going to put my ring over here. I'm going to take this, close this. That up there. And we'll slide this back again, like that. So now we're going to be reversed, so this is going to be a little awkward because I'm going to have to reach over this thing to get to it. So first I'm going to put my ring on again, and it's pretty easy to do. Then my duct here. So we're going to clean that up, and I'm actually going to cut this also. Where did my needle nose go? Just had them. Oh, I swear. Sorry. Oh, here it is. All right. So let's find that piece. It's just got a little extra piece, and that will bother me. So even though it's going to be inside of here, no one will see it. It's still going to bother me. So I'm going to make it look good for me, right? And I know it's done properly. So let's go ahead and slide this piece in, line this up, slide that one back a little bit. Now I have a little less room because I've got this all hooked up, and I'm trying to slide it back. I don't have as much room as I did when I first started, so this will be a little bit tighter. But because this is the metal coil in here, inside here, you can, like I said, you can see the metal. It is flexible. I mean, you can bend this pretty easily. So to get this in here is not too difficult. Let's go backwards a little bit. I think this is torn. Guys, I'm sorry. I can't leave it like that. All right. Take 5. Now I bet y'all wish I edited my videos so you don't have to watch me do all this nonsense. Sorry for the noise as I stuff this in. I'll make sure it's in further enough. Make sure it is lined up. There we go. So that's lined up. Now, if you're, you know, a gigantic person like myself, you could reach over and grab this with the lid, but I guess normal people would have a little trouble. Let's see. There we go. All right, so that's on there really well. That went on there even better than the first one. So that slipped right up. So now I've got my ring again, and I have that already slid on. So let's see, did this go all the way? Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right, so Mr. Screwdriver, where did you go? I think we'll use this one. And we'll go ahead and tighten this ring up. So the idea here is that if I get a couple of these miners in here, you know, exhaust is obviously, that's on there pretty tight. But again, I don't want to crush it. I'm going to give it one more quarter turn for good luck. So again, you know, the idea is that it's not just exhausting the heat, because that's a problem. And it makes it super hot out here in the garage. So even when it is 95 degrees outside and I open the door, the garage door, you know, this actually, you can hear the fans powering down a little bit, because even the heat from outside is cooler than the heat inside this room. Now, I do run these fans, you know, when I'm running this machine, and I do have it overclocked a little bit. I have it about midway. It's, so I think it's 80 Celsius is the number where, you know, you don't want to cross. And I'll show you that upstairs on my temperatures. And there's two different temperatures that you have on these machines. So there's the two of them. One of them should be around 70, you know, is the number that I try to shoot for, you know, 65 to 70. And I achieve that, even if it's hot out here. But, you know, I'm hoping once I have this exhausting out, that extra heat, these will run even cooler. And we're getting closer to winter, where the temperature will drop a little bit around here, and that'll make it a little nicer. So anyway, we've got that in there, we've got that done. So I am going to gently take all this, flip it around, and that way I can work on it a little easier. So like I said, I want to slide this up. Probably could pop these handles off. I don't know how they pop off. I'm going to deal with that later. I don't think you need to watch me fiddle with that for 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach onto this side and grab the duct, the inside plastic. And pull that forward. So I'm obviously going to have to cut off some of this off the end, because it doesn't go all the way, because now I pulled some of that black plastic in with the coil around that. So I pulled about that much extra in there. So the tube now is that much longer without the black insulate inside. So if I pull this all the way up, you know, you can see this will slide right off. So I got to reach in here and pull it and just kind of feel where it ends. So it ends right around here. So I'm just going to put my knife right there and then take my hand out and give it a little cut. You know what? Because that thing is so damn miserable, I'm going to grab some scissors. Jesus, this is cake. God. I just need to get a couple new razors, make life a little easier. So I'm just going to cut this real quick. Sorry, I'm off camera. I'm just cutting this off. And there we go. So I'll show you what I did. So all I did was just cut off, you know, the end from there, because I didn't need that extra. As a matter of fact, I still think that's a little long. So I'll probably trim more off once I have this sealed up here. Like I said, I'm probably going to tuck this in a little bit, just so when I do tape it, I can have a real nice seal and not have all of this extra poking out. So we'll do it like that. And then of course that looks, you know, obviously a lot nicer than, you know, I have to do the underneath and I have to do this side as well. So let's go ahead and let's get rid of this razor. I'm gonna need some new razor blades. Guys, I hope this is helping. You know, I hope my sacrifice sweating to death out here is paying off. Man, I'll wipe the sweat off me here. I got a little my sleeve. So how am I going to do this? So I need to lift this up a little bit. I don't want to lift it up too much and bang this thing around in here. So I don't know. What am I going to use? I'm going to use my battery. I got this big battery here. I'm going to use that just to lift this up. That way I can. Oh, maybe the handle's coming in handy now. So we are just tucking this all in because when I want to tape this, I'm going to want to be able to have a nice tight seal. So there's no extra heat, no extra noise or anything coming out of here. I do it the best I can. You know, again, this is sort of a demo, so I probably don't have to do all this now. Probably just fire this thing up the way it is and see what it does. But we're going to do it just like that. I'll tape it later on after the video, but you know, just for argument's sake to see what this thing does. So let's go ahead and grab that power supply, and we're going to put that over here like that. And we are going to start feeding these wires down here. I'm going to start with the larger wire set. And feed that down there. Okay. Here's the second large set. You have to maybe push a couple through at a time. Get the last two. There's 4 on each of these big strands. Okay. So there they are. Now we can fit this one, and there's an extra one, so it doesn't need to be in there. I'm going to go tuck it in there anyway. Looks like it's on this side, so I'm going to push it down onto this side. So they are all nicely in. Have that just like that. So what I do need to do is I need to put some bracket or something here. I might put a little L bracket here and here, or something. You know what I bought? I bought some stuff. No, that's not going to work. I need to get a little something here. I could get like one of those little hook and eye things and put it through here, something just to screw on and screw on. And then I'm going to put a zip tie just to hold this in place so it doesn't move around if I were to pick this up. It doesn't go for a ride. But let's take a look inside carefully. As you can see, all the wires all right there. So I guess the next challenge is going to be to find something big enough to put over here where I can rest this on it while I plug these wires in. So let's see if I got this box. Got a box here. So if I open this up, I can rest this on that. Hopefully pull these through and do that. And then here we are. So I've got one extra, so I'm not going to need that, but I will need all of these. There is a little debris. This is a foam inside of here. So when you cut through it, there's obviously some foam. So I went ahead and cleaned this all out. Same with the holes on both sides. There was a lot of foam because this is insulated in between with the foam. So I'm just going to give a little love on those and go ahead and start plugging these in. So let's make this one go here. And of course, you want to make sure these are snug and secure, because when you fire this up, if it doesn't have the proper power, you can burn out a board real quick, and a real fun day of experimenting and messing around with your stuff could turn into a not so fun day. And I like to have fun days. So let's get that last one on there. All right, and then I have the other wire here. It's going to go on the control board. So let's get that one. And then we have the one extra wire. I don't know if y'all can see in here. Let me check the camera. Can you see in there? You really can't see in there what I'm doing here. But without busting this thing up, I've got the wires that I just hooked up. As you can see in there, I just hooked them all up. Got one to the control board. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 going to the hash boards. And there's one extra wire with this power supply that you don't need to use. So otherwise though, I think, for argument's sake, this is it, folks. That's it. So let's take this box out of here. And let's get our network cable. And grab that. It's a little tangled up. So instead of trying to pull all the wires through, I'm just going to unhook that and rehook that back in. Sorry, I keep going in front of the camera. And then this one also, we're going to feed down through here. So we're going to find a little spot where I can feed that through. Like that. And I will just hold this power supply while I pull my network cable and pull it around. Give it a little more slack. Okay. Turn that up a little bit. Hey y'all, that's it. That's it. So let's see. I think I'm pulling from back here, and I'm going to be pushing out the front. So yeah. So I think I'm blowing. I'm going to be blowing out this end, so I'm going to flip this around because I want my heat going that way for now. That's how I've had it going before. It was going the other way. So I'm just going to turn this around real quick. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. Just going to unhook that for now, so I don't really mess up everything all of a sudden, especially that we've gotten this far. So we're going to flip this around and put that like this, and like this, and like this. So this side, again, we can pull all of this up. So I'm just going to get this nice and snug. And again, on this side, like we did the other side, we can tuck all of this in. And that way, when we tape this, it'll be sealed as well as it could be. So that when it's all hooked in and together, I'll make that nice seal with the duct tape or that metal tape that I bought. Probably overkill with that tape, but you know what? This is it. This this is it. So this side's a little long also, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut this. I'm sorry it's off camera. I'm just going to do that real quick. All right. So we've got that. All right, y'all. Let me just see where this. Whoops. Let's see where this cable is at. How much room I have to work with. All right, so that's about it. I may put something on the end inside to secure that cable so it doesn't get pulled any further and put any stress on the control board. But, you know, obviously these things aren't meant to be moved around and you know, brought down to the beach and hung out with. They're meant to sit in some room and make some money. So let us see if we're going to make some money. So we are going to hook this up, and then we will do a decibel reading on it. So hook in here, and I'm going to hook in right here. I'm going to do that 1 second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another device so I can have the decibel meter, and I have 2 L3++, and I'll hook up one by itself, and we'll check the decibels, and then we'll check the decibels on this one. And then we'll go upstairs and check them both for heat and see if it's getting enough air pulling in or not. So again, this one is longer than it needs to be, so I'm going to cut that one as well. Let me go grab that device. I'm going to put you on pause real quick. I know I don't like to do the editing and pausing and all that, but you know, you can just sit here quietly while I run inside, or I could pause it. Probably could have running by the time I kept saying all the shit I'm saying. Hold on. All right, so we are in here, and as you can see, my booming voice makes this thing jump up. This is just a decibel meter that I've used before. Seems like it works pretty good. I've tried out different ones and tested them. They all seem similar. This was the first one I downloaded, so I just stuck with it. It really gives a good reading, gives you the decibels, even tells you what it would basically be if you were in one of these areas. So let's shut up for a minute and see where we're at. All right, so I am in the garage, and we have the one of the air conditioning units, or one of the returns in here. So it is making noise right now. Probably should turn that off to get a better reading, but we'll do it with it on, so it won't matter either way. All right, so it looks like 29 to 30-ish, so that's that. Let's go ahead and turn this on now and see where we end up. Okay, so what we hear now is the power supply coming on. Turning it on side because I'm not sure which side the microphone's on, so I just want to make sure it's getting full sound. Okay, so the power meter looks like it's giving us just a little bit more noise. And we're going to have to let this wait for a minute to let this kick in and for the miner to really start pumping. So it sometimes takes a minute or two, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a second while we wait for that to fire up. All right, y'all, that's what it is right there. So that's not too bad, I got to tell you. It's actually pretty quiet in here. I could say that if I had you know, my two L3++ running without this container, I would say that, yeah, this would be a lot different. It would be a lot louder. So I think that I could probably have several of these hooked up in these crates, in these coolers, and be able to have the same noise level as two of these without the crate. And, you know, I would love that, because this is really not bad at all. All right, give me a minute. I am going to just trim some edges on the hose again, because it's a little long and it's not letting all the airflow go in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I will be back in just a minute, and we'll do a quick little wrap up. All right, y'all. So I just lined up the duct work a little bit, so it's a little more straight. Just wanted to make it a little easier for the air to flow. But I'm going to shut up for a second. We'll see where it's at. There's a little noise outside, so give me a second. All right, here we go. All right, so it looks like it's around, you know, 44, 46, something like that. So, you know, I think overall we're going to achieve what we want to achieve. So I'm going to shut this down, and I'm going to hook up the other one and just let that one run, and we're going to do a test on that one. So give me a quick second. All right, so we've got this one here hooked up, and it is this one's turned off. So they're both L3++. They both run relatively similar for the numbers. This one runs a little more efficient, but I'm going to say that's probably because of the power supply. This power supply is generic. This is a bit main, so it's probably a little better. Probably could get even more efficiency through different power supplies, but you know, this is what I got right now. So we're just letting this fire up so you can see how loud it is. So it takes just a minute for this thing to fire up. We'll be right back. We'll let this turn on for a minute. All right, it's up now. You can hear that humming. Oh, went back down again. Let's see. It's going good. Can you hear that? Yep. All right, here we go. Here we go. know about that. Sure seems a hell of a lot louder than what it's reading. Yeah, that's more like it. All right, we're gonna head upstairs and we're gonna talk about this. So we'll be right back and we'll see you upstairs. Hey, also we're back upstairs and I had a chance to shower, so I feel a lot better. It was hot, but I make those sacrifices for you. Let's go over what happened. I got upstairs, I was going to turn this on and I was going to show you, this great successful video, and I was going to be so excited, to get this working and to actually have been able to do something that didn't take 37 tries and shoveling more money onto a project, because it just seems all I do is shovel more money onto projects, trying to figure them out. As much reading as you do and as much as you can watch online, until you actually do it and test it, you don't know. And that's what we did. So after I had it hooked up, I came upstairs, still, from right from downstairs right to upstairs. I looked at it because I wanted to see the temperatures. I saw that it was overheating. It was getting hot. And, so I try to keep my temperatures, the PCB temperatures, around 65 and 70-ish. That's usually the number that you would like to be at, maybe a degree or two, but 80 is your critical. You don't want to go above that. So that's when you start overclocking, you start getting those higher temperatures. Now, I do have this overclocked, so it does get a little warmer, but it's still acceptable. When I looked at the temperatures and I saw them rising and rising and rising, I decided to shut the miner down from up here. I went downstairs and I looked at the hoses. One of them, there was more insulation at the end than the coiled metal with the plastic around it, and that was folding in on itself, kind of sandwiching at the very end, and that wasn't allowing much air to get in. So I cut that way back and I pulled that accordion black plastic with the metal inside. I pulled that way out. I had the insulation back real far. I put another box under it, so it made it, when it came off the miner, it was straight on this end and straight on this end. It didn't hang down on one side or the other. It was pretty straight. So that was that looked good. Had plenty of out and in on both sides. I cut back that insulation, so it was good. I came back upstairs. I plugged it back in. I came back upstairs and I watched it, and the temperature started getting up. Now, the first time the temperature got up to around 79, and right there I was like, "That's it. It's going to hit 80," and I don't even want to see that number. 79, was too much. So I shut it down. So I turned it on when I got back up here. The numbers started rising again. It got up to around 77, and I said, I got to shut it off because it's obviously not running at the temperature it normally runs at. So something's wrong. Something. So thoughts. What I'm going to try next is, so I took the miner out. I put it back on the workbench. I plugged it in. It's downstairs. It's working. It's making some money, and that will help pay for more of the stuff I need to buy to continue this experiment, and that's the problem with a lot of this, is that, I just keep shoveling more money onto these little projects, trying to figure them out. You can watch videos. There's a lot of videos out there with people doing things like this, but they're kind of built to a specific design of where they are. So it's different for me because I have a different setup. I would figure that the basics of it with the hoses on both sides would be, a basic set. And then from there, it would depend on how you had air coming in and going out. But just for it to be put with two hoses in the same room that it was working fine in before, I would assume that it would work, but it didn't. So let me just show you the numbers real quick. So I have mine that's currently running right now. You can see it in the background. These are the temperatures from when it started rising. So you can see I have 67 and it was at 70, 70 and 76. I didn't see what that was here. So 71 and 74 and 72, and it went to 77, and I didn't wait for it to get any warmer. But as you can see, I do keep it a lot lower, or that not that I necessarily do much to it to keep it that way. It just does it. I guess with the airflow and the temperature in there of what it's getting, that's what it's running at. We'll check this again come winter time and see if that makes a difference, if they're just in there. But again, a lot of it's the noise is the problem. So the heat, I can have it exhaust out, but I'm still trying to figure out the other end, the intake. So this didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. So we got to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to have to see what's going to work. I think I'm going to get an aluminum tube. You can buy those pieces, and I'm going to put that in the back end for the air intake. I was wondering if maybe the 4-inch hose, it is flexible inside there. It does move, and if there's enough pressure pulling in, is it crushing it down a little bit and turning it into a 3.5-inch opening rather than the 4-inch, and that's causing not enough air to get in. I mean, that could easily be it. It's not getting the air. Obviously, if it's overheating, it's not getting enough air passing through the chips. So I don't think it's the exhaust side, because what, I don't know if it is or it isn't, to be honest. We're going to have to try it. So what I'll do first is I'll leave that hose in the front. I'll put an aluminum pipe in the back. I'll try that. Then I'll put probably the hose in the back again and put the aluminum up front, see what that does. Maybe I'll put aluminum on both sides, see what that does. Then I'll have hose on both sides, aluminum on both sides, and then one on each of the other side. And I'll compare the numbers, and I'll see if any of them come down to the numbers that I had. And if one of them does, then that'll probably, be acceptable. So the next steps after this is trying to vent this heat out, because having the heat vent out obviously cools the room down, and then it's the air that's being pulled in is cooler. Overall it's going to help. So like I said, it gets to about 105, 110 probably in that room, to be honest. That sounds high. You walk in there and you're warm, that's for sure. But come winter time, it'll be a lot cooler outside, and these things will definitely cool down. But if I could have that exhaust out, I would really be in business, because if it's 105 in there and I could drop that room down to 90 degrees, 15-degree difference, if that brings down 1 or 2 or even 3 points on these temperatures, 72, I brought that down to a 69, I would be really happy with that. I would really be happy with that number. That would be something that, would make me happy, knowing that the chips are running much, much cooler and they'll be more efficient. Heat is the enemy of computers and these chips and boards. So we will see. But ultimately, I want to build some sort of closet, some sort of box. On one side, I'll have the holes where these will vent out, and then they'll all connect into one central point of a vent that'll go outside. And then behind it, I want to, or inside of the box, if all of them are being, expelled out, I also want to have one of those. I've been thinking about a portable air conditioning unit. Depending on what they pull, 800, 900, 1,000 watts. You're looking at, I don't even know what that's going to run you a month. 1,000 watts. I don't have my paper, but that's got to be a couple bucks to run that. But if, I blow cool air in, so cool air is going past the chips, and then all that heat, whatever is in there, is then being expelled outside, I think those machines will run, at a comfortable, 65 Celsius, 64. I would be amazed. But I'm going to have to fool around with that. Again, the problem is that, building this room, this sub room, this box of sorts, that's going to be another $150. You just toss that out there, and of course you're going to want to put soundproofing inside. So it's, I've seen them online. They're not too expensive. 10 square feet, and they sell them in packages. Maybe another $100 on soundproofing. So that's $250 in. And that's going to be to try this to see if it works, because if it doesn't, I'm going to have a soundproof box where I could probably go inside and scream all day long. Well, I'm doing my best. I promise, honey. I'm trying to figure out how to make these things quiet and not put out so much heat. So that'll be the next one. I think that'll have to wait until next month, because with what I have coming up right now, I just don't know. For now, I'm going to have the heat being pushed outside. I am going to put a vent for the outside and get a box, return box, where all of the hoses will go into it, and then it'll have probably an 8 or so inch hole, and then that will be then from the outside. I'll have a vent hooked up on that. It'll vent all that hot air out. That'll make the room a lot better right off the bat, right? That's 50% of the battle right there. Getting rid of that heat. That's going to cool these chips down. That's going to be huge. As I said 50% because the other 50% is going to be the noise. So even if I had them in the cooler with a metal pipe, an aluminum pipe coming out the back to pull air in, and you could still hear that noise, it would be better than having both fans blowing and sucking. You would only be hearing really one fan sucking in from one side, and the other side would be going to outside with the insulated. So that might be an option. I'm trying to do the cooler thing first because it just seems a little easier than building some box. But if I want to do the coolers, I got to perfect this one first. And then after that, like I said, it's $20 for the cooler, and a couple parts for it, another $10 in parts. It's like $30 per unit. So, if I have 5 miners, so that's $150. And then, and then I'm almost at the same cost as building the box for $250. I don't know. A lot of these, I have so many videos that I've done half videos because I just don't even know where to start or end. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. I've talked long enough. Give me your comments below. Please, if you have had any experience with these personally and you have, figured out the next step past where I got to, I would love to know more. I wish I could talk to somebody, in more detail about these things, but, there's nobody doing this. So I'm going to keep on, trucking away and seeing where we end up. This is, this is just where we're at right now. So I'm going to put this video up even though it's not really all the way done. And like the grow tent, we're going to have to come back to that one. That one I need a better inline fan. And that's possibly what I need for this. Maybe I need a good inline fan pulling the air in. I wonder what that would affect the fan that was already in place. Would I have to remove that one and then have something pulling the air into it? One of those inline, like a real big inline fan pulling the air in. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that and see about getting one of those fans. See, the cool thing about the fan is that I can get one, and if it doesn't work out the way I want, I can return it. So that's okay. I can live with that. Once I make a box with, plywood and buy this insulation stuff, I can't return that. I can't unscrew the thing and bring the pieces of wood back to Home Depot. They don't like that. So maybe an inland fan. Maybe I'm going to buy that part next, and the aluminum pipe, and from there try those two things. Maybe that's the answer. We'll see. All right, thumbs up, hit the like button. You want to subscribe, that's super. But any feedback is really what I want on this one. I want to see the feedback on this. I want to see what you've done and where you're at. All right, I appreciate you watching, y'all, and I'll see you for part 2.